Hey, so somebody had posed a question on the Facebook group that there wasn't much out there on chords they were trying to learn to, he has nerve damage or something in his hands, and he's switching to playing on his lap with a slide. And it's true, there isn't a lot out there as far as, I mean, there is for bluegrass stuff. And bluegrass guys are tuned to, I'm tuned to what's called Spanish tuning. It's not the same as, the bluegrass guys are G, B, D, G, B, D, and I'm tuned low D, low G, leave the D, leave the G, leave the B, and then this string tuned down to a low D. So the same tuning that Son House would have been in, although he was always really flat as he got older, you know, so he wasn't in actually, the intervals were the same, but his guitar was flat from G or it was sharp from G. So anyway, I play mostly upright, and when I switched to this, it's been a journey, it's been difficult. But I was always more attracted to the old, to the more primitive blues stuff. So if you're starting out on this instrument, I mean, you may eventually get to a point where you're getting better and better, and you want to play, you know, GBD, because I don't think it's as limited. But not playing upright, I'm not as limited because I can fret. So here we can't fret, we have even more limitations. So I'm just going to go through the chords and the sevenths and stuff like that, basic stuff in the Spanish tuning, playing on my lap. So we have our G. Then at the third fret, I'm going to tilt the bar, and I'm just going to be playing the seventh. So these two strings here, the first and second string at the third fret, are going to be our seventh for G. So G. So there's our G7. Then we have our 4 chord at the fifth fret, and our 7th is at the 8th fret. G, our 7th, and then at the 7th fret we have our 5 chord, and at the 10th fret we have our 7th. Then everything repeats, of course, at the 12th fret. So we have our G at the 12th fret. And then at the 15th fret, we have our 7th. You can do a turnaround with that. That makes a good turnaround. That makes a good turnaround. Because Robert Johnson, as I've showed before, and then Johnny Winter, when he did his turnarounds in open G, he would do something like that. So And then just to do a little bit of scale stuff, we're going to be on one string, the pentatonic, because Son House, guys like Son House, he rarely left the pentatonic. I'm trying to think of any song of his. I know a lot, and I can't think of any offhand that he left the pentatonic. But anyway, so we have our it at the open, 3rd, 5th, 8th, 10th, 12th fret. Okay? Four chord, 7th. Stuff like that. So I was just mainly concentrating on just one string, and then I'm just hitting a constant bass, my G bass. And this is another part of the pentagram. So a good exercise is to slide down and then off this string. So I'll go. So starting at the 5th, and then on the 1st string, to the 3rd, then we hit at the 3rd, the 2nd string, all the way down to the 1st fret, come up onto the G string on the 3rd string. I'm raking when I do this. I have explained that in other videos, but it bears repeating here. What I'm doing is muting this 2nd string here with my finger. And I'm hitting both strings to get a bigger sound. Now when I showed here the 7th, there's a lot that goes on in between, and I showed this in playing upright, but there's a lot that goes on in between the 3rd fret and the 5th fret. So if you were in standard tuning and you know your pentatonic or your blues scale, it would be here, 1, 2, 3, here, 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 here to your flatted 5th, here, 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 and here. Okay? Well, now because this string is tuned down, what we would play here is actually here. So that's part of our pentatonic right there. Want to get used to sliding down and sliding up. So this flatted 5th here, I'm using not just that note sometimes. I'm going with the entire chord. And then when I get to the 4 chord, I can use all these notes and do the same thing on the 5 chord. And when I come down, I usually will drag my thumb pick backward. And another thing I'd like to say about finger picks, if you're playing with finger picks, is make sure that, or you're new to them, make sure that they're pushed forward, okay? So they stick out a little more. So you can do your pentatonic by going I just learned pentatonics by ear, so I mean, I don't know, there are guys probably doing like cooler videos where they show like all the different pentatonic shapes you can do. The only ones that I know from listening to Son House and Charlie Patton and Robert Johnson and all those guys are what I hear, and then I just find it. Another important technique too is getting these 2 fingers going. Like, it reminds me of Johnny Winter. I mean, I can't do it like Johnny Winter. So to recap, we have our G chord, we have our 7th, we have our 4 chord, we have our 7th at the 8th, we have our 5 chord, and we have our 7th chord at the 10th, and then we're back to G. And that's another turnaround, because when I went here, like that, I'm just going from the 7th down, right? And I can do that at the 15th fret too. Or I can go to my 5 chord. So remember this little exercise. And also, like, you'll notice the bluegrass people, they will use all 3 of their fingers. And in blues, I mostly, and the other old guys were mostly using just 2 fingers, and then the odd time they'd bring this one in. So it's not the same as playing like the bluegrass Dobro people who were, like, some of my favorites are Rob Ikes, Cindy Cashdollar, Jerry Douglas, and they can all play great blues stuff in GBD. I do play in that tuning someday down the road. You know, maybe I'll do some videos on that and playing blues in that tuning. But for now, I'm just going to stick to like the Delta type of stuff, and they were in Spanish too. So knowing your basic 12-bar blues, and then knowing your basic chords on this, your sevenths, and your basic playing, you know, in your pentatonic. You can have a lot of fun. There's just so many little things that you can do. And like I said, if you're going to listen, I would suggest that you go and listen to Sunhouse. Sunhouse did not play. He played upright and he fretted at the 4 and 5 chord. Playing upright, I do and I don't sometimes. Guys like Charlie Patton, I believe he did play on his lap. There's no fretting in any of his slide playing, and he did more of a major style. I'll do another video on the basics of what I know about that later on. In Open D, one of my favorite players is Blind Willie Johnson, and he never fretted, but he played upright, so his stuff translates well. So the Delta blues stuff and Texas blues players like Blind Willie Johnson, their stuff translates well to lap style playing. Now, one of the things that I had trouble with was vibrato. Okay, vibrato is important, and it's not easy to get. Now, playing upright, I had my thumb to pivot because I have a slide on this finger. So, you know, I got that, and then I thought that I was just going to, you know, move over to playing, because originally I had been playing, you know, on an acoustic when I was younger with batteries and everything else, the standard tuning. I didn't know what they were doing. And so once I had learned to play upright, I figured that it was going to be easy to play on my lap because I already had the vibrato intonation and all that down. And it turns out that that's not how it worked at all, because I'm using completely different muscles. I don't have that thumb on the back of the neck to pivot, okay? So this is the finger that I use for vibrato. Like, I always have this finger down. Like, if I'm doing a chord, I'll have this finger down, or both of them. If I'm doing a single note like vibrato, it's off of this finger. This finger is anchored, and I'm going back and forth like this. So I'm going. So practice that too, sliding into the 5th fret, okay? Just practice your pentatonic on that one string. And then practice your chords. Turnarounds. And here I'm just going, this is a Johnny Winter style turnaround, but very slow. He played it much faster. It was one of the rare times that he ever fretted when he played slide. So I'm on the, I've got my 1st string going at the 3rd fret, 4th string. And then all 3 of these strings, the last 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm hitting that D. So, when I'm playing on the 1 chord, using this G. When I get to the 5 chord, when I get to the 5 chord, I'm playing the open D string for my D chord. For my 5 chord, I'm using this. For my 4 chord, I'm using this, and I can even fret it. I could go. So when I'm sliding in, I've got the whole chord down, and then when I go up to my 7th, I've tilted the bar. So when I went to the 5 chord, I was hitting the whole chord, hitting the G string, or the 5th string here, and then I lifted it, it went up to my 7th, at the 10th, and started hitting this string, the 6th string.